Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. For those who are new, Sit and See Live is a live meditation class that I teach. I'm Dr. Jared Jones. I've spent about 20 years training in Buddhism and about 5 years training in Taoism. My specialty is the cognitive science of meditation, Buddhist philosophy, ancient systems of meditation, and a few other odds and ends I picked up along the way in the academy. But there is some exciting news. You're going to see all sorts of new things around the stream today because we have been upgraded. We are monetized. So you are now free if you would like to become a member on Facebook. There are, as I said, since I don't want to really charge for anything, there are a few little odds and ends that you get that are just kind of fun if you become a member. But really, it's just about supporting the community, supporting me, and supporting the community, so that I can carry on doing this for all of you. So, if you'd like to become a member, I have tiered memberships now, and there are a few fun things that happen if you become a member, including getting a little custom star by your name, which I'm sure everyone loves. And I don't know if everyone gets to use my custom emojis, or oh yeah, they do. There they are. There's the custom emojis. I see them. I'm going to put one in the chat right now. Boom. I made that today. Anyways, it's really good to see you all, even though I am so far away from so many of you. Very, very, very exciting day. So we are, for some magical reason, they said it was going to take a month, but it took 24 hours. So here we are, monetized, memberships available, and super chats active, etc. So right after our meditation class, I'm going to go live once again for the evening session, just to test run, test play all of the new and exciting features of the stream now that we're a real stream. So it's thanks to all of you. It wouldn't be possible if you hadn't supported me and been interested in the hanging out with the old man, as it were, up to this time. YouTube really fast-tracked me to getting both monetized and getting the memberships and everything set up. I was able to do it all in 24 hours, which is just mind-boggling. Having said all that, as excited as I am, today is, or this session is, as always, about meditation. So please do, if you have questions about your meditation practice, pop them into the chat while we are waiting for people to join in the next 10 minutes or so. And I'll do my best to answer those. And if no questions come in, I'll just ramble on until we get to meditation time, as I usually do. Since some of you are here a bit early relative to the rest of the world, I'll give you a little bonus. And some of you will come along and stumble upon this and also get this little bonus. So, if your main interest is something like Zen practice, where one of the main approaches, one of the main aims, you could say, of the practice is to remove targets, to remove goals, to remove preference. The reason for this is that the fundamental nature of your consciousnesses is like that. And so to access the fundamental nature of your consciousnesses, you need to get that out of the way. So one of the really interesting and seemingly contradictory, but not contradictory things at all about trying to develop that type of awareness is that you need extreme force of will to become a person who doesn't have a will solely aimed at their own well-being, at their own temporary interest in this lifetime. And how is this expressed in practical terms? I think one of the best examples to think about is Japanese archery. So Japanese archery is something that one of my main gurus for many years did, and he wrote about it fairly extensively because he was a martial artist uh, and someone interested in archery, Japanese archery. So at the highest level of Japanese archery, one might say, kyudo, the way of the bow, you apply absolutely perfect technique that will cause you to hit the target. But that technique doesn't involve even a single atom of your being trying to accomplish the goal of hitting the target. So you apply the perfect technique, and the part of that technique that's in your control is the perfect movement of the body, the perfect pulling of the bow, the perfect stance, the perfect setting of the arrow, the perfect release of the arrow at the perfect time. All of this is what you can control. Crystal clear. As soon as the arrow leaves the bow, it's not in your hands anymore, is it? You can't push the arrow towards the target or something once it's left the bow. So some of the techniques that I teach, for example, you have to use very forceful intention to make your meditation actually accomplish the type of state that you're trying to get your meditation to help you accomplish, right? However, even in those cases, they'll work even better, they'll function even better if you can get the idea of some personal goal for me in the very immediate sense out of the way. It's just like an archer, right? In a fraction of a second, the goal is going to appear there. And so it's very easy to get it attached to or grab onto wanting the goal to happen rather than focusing on the stuff that makes the goal happen. So likewise here, even when you're applying a great deal of force and intent, it can behoove you, it can help you to try to pull back some of the I want to get this for me and pull that out of the way as much as you can. And focus instead all of your energy on just remembering the technique and doing your best to apply the technique there and then. And the better you do it actually just applying the technique that produces the result, the more the result will occur, which should be pretty straightforward. So it's not actually, as I am wont to say many, many times again and again, it's not actually magic or luck or counterintuitive or mystical. This is actually a practical approach to accomplishing your goals, as ironic as that is. Applying better technique, better approach, better discernment to the situation helps you accomplish your goals more easily, more quickly. Simply grabbing onto the idea that I want to have the goal right now doesn't help you accomplish the goal, because now you've split your attention between imagining a future thing that you want and doing the stuff that may or may not bring about that result, right? Your attention is divided. If you put it all on the stuff that actually makes the result happen, the result is much more likely to happen. So, of course, by the time we get to meditating on the 5 external sense consciousnesses, we're just simply abiding in the nature of those consciousnesses. And when we abide on the nature of mind, we're abiding on the nature of mind in a state that is choiceless, decisionless, and intentionless, besides the intent to remain in a state without intent. Besides the decision to remain in a state without making other decisions. Besides the choice to remain in a state of choicelessness. There's a part of your mind that is aware of the fact that if you start forming intentions, motivations, choices, decisions, that you have fallen out of the condition you intended to be in. So there's some part of you that is aware if your mind is not remaining in a state of non-doing or just sitting, to use the Japanese terminology. So this then is one of those really, really incredible techniques, one of those really incredible truths about training in anything, actually, not just meditation. But one of those truths that's really important if you want to understand what's going on with and how to accomplish deeper states of concentration and to access the fundamental components and so forth that make up your being, like the different types of sense consciousnesses that you have and so forth, right? Okay. Is it just me, or do I seem really bright and really shiny? Not that I, you know, not that I mind being Amitabha for the day. Okay. Love from Sri Lanka. Love from Scotland. Hello. Good to see you. What's the difference between Advaita Vedanta and Buddhism? Yeah, that's the aura. Yeah, that's kind of what I was joking about. So when we do the open Q&A, I'll answer questions like that one. As you guys know, I'll answer basically any question you have about practice in Buddhism and so forth if I have an opinion on it. But for this particular kind of practice here, this session here, I try to just answer questions directly related to your own practices that you're doing. And when I say your practices you're doing, I don't mean sort of a lofty general description. I mean the actual practices you're trying to accomplish from day to day. So if you have actual kind of practical, meaty questions about, I'm trying to do this thing called meditation and this problem keeps coming up, what do I do? That's the kind of questions I like to take in these sessions. Otherwise, as I've said before, we end up talking about aliens and AI and the nature of reality and everything else. Okay, good to see you. Good to see you. It's an exciting night you're missing out on, Cleric. We're monetized, my man. At least drop a custom emoji in the chat while you're here. Right. So I will simply say about Advaita Vedanta and Buddhism, because this is relevant to practice, right? I was actually talking with an Advaita practitioner today in India. He's yeah, man. You didn't notice? Look, you got super chats. You got the ability to you got the ability to do all this, to sign up for a membership. You got custom emojis. Dude, we're online. We're rocking. So I was talking with Dr. Abhishek, who is a university professor and all around like kind of exemplary, how to say, he's just sort of bringing a lot of people together in, I'm forgetting the name of the university, but at a university in India. And he reached out to me last night on the stream. I reached out to him today. And we had a lovely conversation about the similarities and differences between Advaita Vedanta and the Buddhist approach. And his particular teacher, actually, it's interesting because I've said this on live before. I think there are certain teachers who end up with the Buddhist position because of the way they do that practice. And his school, in his opinion, is one of those schools. So it was really nice to talk to him, actually. What I would say is this, both from my direct experience and from sort of a Buddhist psychology point of view, you misperceive everything. Even in concentration, you misperceive the stuff you're seeing. So when you look at your own consciousness, you're going to misperceive it as if it existed in and of itself. In other words, it's a knower, it's a seer, it's unchanging. It just sits there in and of itself being what it is, and it's blissful. Sat Chit Ananda. It is knowingness, consciousness, bliss. Or it is being, consciousness, bliss, right? We say that's the beginning of real inquiry into who and what you are. We've got one Arhat has joined the live. Yeah, look at you. You got your little Vajra next to your name? Hell yeah. Yeah. There you go, a little Amoghasiddhi. Amoghasiddhi is my favorite amongst the 5 Buddha families, for those who are interested. Okay, so back to practice. When, for example, when we do five foundations meditation and you meditate on consciousness itself, one of the experiences I expect you to have at some point is that you will think consciousness exists in and of itself. I'm really loving the chat. This is amazing. So you will come to see that oh wow, yeah, actually my consciousness seems to always be knowing, always be blissful, always be um, in a state where it could give rise to any kind of experience. That's what it's like. And if you don't drill in and investigate the nature of how that consciousness exists, I think you would be most of Advaita Vedanta practitioners, which is to say that you would abide in that consciousness and come to believe that simply uh, that consciousness itself is basically the center of reality. And then if you meditate on this long enough, they say basically you sort of you start to notice that the boundaries of your body are not the boundaries of your mind. And when your awareness extends out from the body, then you become aware that there are other minds that are doing the same thing. And then it seems like those minds can't be separated from what you are. And this is Brahman, that there is actually one big mind. That's all one big thing that you can't be pulled apart from. And then once again, Buddhists would say, well, this is something that can happen, but you need to investigate the nature of that mind. You need to investigate the nature of that kind of consciousness through doing a type of analysis we call analysis into dependent origination and emptiness and selflessness, this kind of thing. So when an Advaita Vedanta school goes on to do that next part, I think basically, as far as I can tell, I think they're getting to a Buddhist kind of insight. I don't know for sure, but I think they seem to be. And even some Hindus have accused them of this. Not, this isn't just my opinion. Like some Hindus have accused certain Advaita Vedanta schools of being Buddhist. And then the ones that don't do that other kind of analysis, I think, in my humble opinion, they've left one step unfinished in the process of inquiring into the nature of their own being. And that would be a significant difference between the two systems, if that difference is in fact correct. So I tried to bring it back to practice. Let me now get back to the chat. Simple Light, hello, welcome back. Okay. Localita08. When I do body scan, I tend not to feel much. When you say let's get left leg as if it started to hide, and then it drives me crazy. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Okay. Okay. So in terms of body scanning practice, when you first start out, there will be areas of your body that are, you think about it like the lights in the room haven't been turned on yet. You don't have enough awareness of the body, and you don't have enough practice putting your awareness into what you feel in the body to be aware of stuff when the sensations are not very strong. So even right now, for example, try to feel your the back of your left elbow. It's not easy, right? Like the back of the elbow is an area that doesn't have very many nerves, so it's not easy to put your mind in there. But if you go like this, you feel it right away because there's more sensations there, you see? So in areas of the body where there's not much sensation going on, it's like trying to see what's happening when there's not very much light in the room, because your mind's not very bright in seeing what's happening. Therefore, what you can see is sort of gray and dark. But as you gain more capability in this practice, it's almost like you're turning the lights up on a dimmer switch. You're sort of cranking the lights up slowly. And as the lights get brighter, you can see more and more and more until you can see a lot of things, like where your bones are, where your organs are. You can actually see a lot in the room. So it just takes time, it takes time, it takes practice, but don't the frustration won't help. So just um, in areas where you can't see anything, think about it like this: close your eyes for a moment. Close your eyes. You can see that it's dark, right? You notice that there's no light there. So, in exactly the same way, if what you feel when you put your mind in a certain part of the body is, I don't feel anything here, it's like closing your eyes and seeing that it's dark. So, you have detected what you can detect in that location already. Since your awareness is not very bright in seeing what's in the body, when you put your attention here, whatever you can see, or even the fact that you can't see anything yet, is what you focus upon in that particular part of the body. And if you do the practice like this, you'll begin to build up your skill in being able to see more and more of what's there. If you find that there are certain parts of the body that you have really great difficulty seeing into, then what you do is you take maybe you would do a full body scan, for example, and then once the mind is more calm, then you would just take your mind and put it into one area, and you just keep it in that area for a while, and you just let that area sort of. One of my teachers says it's like putting ink, like old school ink, onto paper, and the paper absorbs the ink like this, right? And it kind of, or like putting water onto a sponge, and the sponge soaks up the water until the sponge is full. Likewise, you put the liquid of your mind or the ink of your mind into this part, and slowly your mind soaks into that part until it's pervading that whole part. So if you can't see into a certain area, what you do is just after the mind is relatively calm because you've done some other practices, then you just put your mind somewhere and you let it soak into that area, so that later on, when you do the practice again later, that you have more experience getting the mind into that area. Does that make sense? So for those who are coming through, exciting news today before we get started on our practice session. We are monetized. I thought it would take 2 years, and it took me I don't know, 3 weeks to get up to 1,000 people, and it took me, instead of a month, it took me less than 24 hours to get monetized. So we have super chats, we have memberships, and I even have custom emojis, which I thought would be fun. So I have little Buddhas. If you go down to your emoji section, you'll see I put some Buddhas down there. So if you'd like to be a member, now you don't have to jump off and do all this other stuff to you don't have to jump off and do all this other stuff to donate and contribute. Just become a member. If you want to do the lowest tier, it's just a couple of bucks. And if half my followers do that, then I can do this forever, which I'd love to do with you. Okay. So, Billin8350. I'll talk more about Advaita Vedanta when we go to the live Q&A after the meditation. But I want to stick to the practices you're actually doing, practical stuff in terms of your practice in this session. Dr. Scary. Are the 16 steps of breath meditation, the Pali Canon, supposed to be mastered one step at a time before moving on to the rest, or do you go through all 16 steps in a single meditation session? Okay. I'll see you later. Billin. Yeah. Good. So I'm actually not familiar with that practice. I haven't seen breath meditation broken into 16 different steps. I'd have to see which source you're relying upon. I don't remember that in the sutra sources. Is that maybe that's in one of the Pali commentaries or something that I haven't looked at? You'd have to show me what the source is. Also, it's important to remember with a lot of the literature that's written from a classical standpoint for this kind of thing, it's written for people that are going into retreat and they're going to be doing a lot of practice every single day for a long time to accomplish the whole path in using certain kinds of practices. Anapanasati. Are you sure? Because give me a second. I'll pull it up on my side. Oh, yeah. Mindfulness of breathing. Let me see. Um, okay. Mindfulness of breathing. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have read this actually. I didn't think of it as like 12 steps. Okay, okay. For this particular training system, I would say talk to someone who's an expert in this particular way of training. I haven't trained in this particular method myself, so I can't tell you exactly the ins and outs of this particular way of training and concentration. The Buddhist canon provides a lot of different methods for doing your practices and attaining the various states of meditation and so forth that you're trying to attain. So I'm just not super familiar with this particular method, to be honest. Although I must say that I'm not saying that the sutta is wrong, to be clear. I'm not saying that the sutta is incorrect, but the way the sutta reads is as if you are mentally labeling each aspect, sort of like the breath comes in and you go, I'm breathing in. The breath goes out and you go, I'm breathing out now, right? I don't think that's actually what the text means. I think what it means is that the full force of your awareness is with what's occurring. So you don't miss any part of what's happening in the process. Um, there's been actually recently there's been a bit of a stir, let's say, in the community because there are certain systems where they teach a lot of mental labeling of that kind, and a few people have basically had psychosis because of using that kind of technique. And so I don't think that that actual literal process of labeling what you're seeing in that way is what is meant or intended by those practices. But again, if you train with somebody that knows that technique well, they're going to give you much better advice on it than I am. Okay. All right. If there are more questions, I'll take them now. Otherwise, since we're approaching 30 minutes, we will jump into our practice now. And for those of you who are just happening in while I'm waiting to see if any more questions come in, we're monetized. We've got super chats, we've got memberships, and we've got custom emojis just for fun. little Buddhas to increase your karmic imprints. So, yeah, for those of you who have been waiting for me to get to the monetization stage so that you could do a membership of whatever amount and support the stream, now that's a possibility. You should be able to find it by clicking through somewhere. YouTube said it would be somewhere easy to find. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing any new questions come through, so we'll go ahead and get into some practice if everyone's up for that. So let's begin with intensive breath. Okay, yeah. Um, it's quite a common experience. Oh, hello everyone. It's quite a it's quite a common experience in meditation to feel that the body as a whole or some part of the body has become really, really large. Uh, it's not a particularly important experience, but it is something that can happen, and it happens to quite a few people. Let's see. Did breath meditation last night for 30 minutes. Started crying, happens often. Yeah, yeah, there's a term for that in the Hindu scriptures, I think in the Yoga Sutras. I can't remember it at the moment, but there is this known thing in meditation textbooks, we could say, where sometimes because you're making the mind more calm, there's just emotional stuff down there, wherever down there is, and you get these like massive bursts of emotion that come out of nowhere, and then they just go away. So this is kind of a known thing for people that are uh, are training in concentration. But again, it's not a bad indication. It's not a good indication. It's just one of these things that happens from time to time, sort of uh, like like Localita was saying, and feeling the body become very large and so forth. I'd say there's somewhere in the ballpark of maybe like 50 things that are quite common that happen to people when they try to meditate, that they're not in particularly important. They're just stuff that happens because you're working with your mind, and your mind is the thing that basically makes up the rest of your reality. There is an external world, but your 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 experience of it comes from your mind. I had a really good conversation about that with my optometrist a few days ago because I need glasses, and I was talking to her about this, and she was like, "Yep, that's right." She's like, "What you see is not the world. What you're seeing is what stuff your mind is doing." And I was like, "Cool. It's nice to hear a PhD say that to me." All right. Uh, who's here? DJI. Hello, hello. DJ, exciting news. We're monetized. We're monetized. We've got super chats. We've got memberships and custom emojis just to add extra karmic imprints. There's a great sutta in the Mahayana canon that says that even if a person sees the image of a Buddha with anger in their mind, that just seeing that image, even with no faith, no respect, no anything, they create unbelievable positive karma, merit. So I have 4 Buddha head emojis in the chat to increase your merit. Okay. Okay, so we ready to do some practice? Good, good, good. Let's get into it. So assume a posture that's comfortable for you. The only really critical thing at this stage of your training is that your spine is pretty straight, but you don't want to make it so rigidly artificially straight that it's uncomfortable. It's actually pretty important that your body be comfortable, or you won't be able to concentrate. So begin with this, right? Begin with this, just getting the body in the appropriate position. So maybe we can do a few of these for those of you who have been here before. This actually comes from the Confucian tradition, but it's really good for loosening up the lower back and the hips. You just lean forward to the side and backwards, and you'll notice that my spine stays straight. So I'm just taking the spine like this and rotating it, right? So the spine stays in the appropriate position, and it's the hips that are rocking and moving, not the spine. And this very small, basic exercise, as sort of silly and basic as it looks, really helps loosen up all the little bits in your hips, and it's good. It's a good preparation for sitting. Next, in the middle of your back, those muscles get tight if they're not being held in the right position, and so just rocking back and forth like this I find can help loosen up those middle muscles of the back. And this is a technique from mm, the Okinawan Zen tradition that comes through the martial arts. And then if you feel pain in the upper back from sort of, if this was my back, right, and sort of in this area, in the back between the shoulder blades, usually that's not actually your back itself that is hurting. It's all the little connections inside your shoulders that hold the scapula in place. And so if you imagine that your shoulders are a bit like bicycle wheels, and so this one comes up and forward, right? And this one's going to go down and backwards. So they're going to stretch against each other like the wheels on a like the pedals on a bicycle. So like this, and then the other way. Even a few rounds like that can make the pain in the upper back less. And then finally, if you have tension in your neck, quite often that tension isn't your neck. It's actually your shoulders. And there are muscles that run down the neck like this into the top of the shoulder. And so if you tighten those muscles and then release them, you can make the back of the neck release also. So this is, again, sort of looks silly, but it can release that tension in the upper back, or I mean in the neck. And then the last little bit is you have all these little tiny muscles that run up the spine like this. And if these engage, your spine twists. So this pulls like this and makes the spine twist in different directions. So to address all those little tiny muscles running up and down the spine, start from the bottom of the spine and turn the spine like this. I'll show you. And when you release that twist, don't turn yourself back forward. Just start from the bottom of your spine and relax and let it untwist you so that you are untwisted by relaxing rather than sort of bringing yourself around, if that makes sense. Because we're trying to get those little muscles along the spine to relax, right? So same thing, turn the other way. Start from the bottom and twist each vertebra as you go up and twist it until you're fully twisted from top to bottom. And so 3 minutes, I think that was about 3 minutes. You can make the hips and the lower back, the mid back, the upper back, the neck, and the little muscles along the spine feel probably a lot better than they felt all day. And that can make it easier to sit. So the last little thing is, one of my teachers taught me it's quite good rather than trying to decide where your posture should be. Just make your spine straight, right, from top to bottom, relatively straight, and then just rock a little bit back and forth. And then when you get to the forward position, instead of deciding where you're going to stop, just relax, and you'll stop somewhere. And you know that this spot doesn't require you to hold yourself in that spot because you had to relax to get there. One thing that'll distract you in meditation is that inside your hips, there are little muscles that grab like this to help you lean forward. And if you're leaning forward artificially, the hips will start to hurt because these muscles are grabbing on like this to pull you forward. So by leaning forward and then relaxing those muscles and just coming to rest wherever you happen to be, you can rest in a position where you're not grabbing with those muscles in the hips. You see? So now we've relaxed the whole spine and we've relaxed those muscles grabbing in the hips. So now we can sit comfortably, hopefully, for at least 5 minutes. but maybe we could sit for a lot longer. We have another stream enterer on their way. All right, so let's do some practice. Here we go. Place your mind with great intensity on the sensations of breath inside whichever nostril you feel the most powerful sensations of breathing. And then count your breath by visualizing the numbers 1 to 7, 7 to 0. On 0, don't visualize the 0, just take a very short break. Make sure that the body's okay. You can adjust the body a bit if needed at 0, but other than that, stay completely still and keep 1,000%, 1,000,000% of your attention on the sensations of breathing and the process of counting your breath. Okay? If you can't visualize the numbers, just say the numbers in your head. All right? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, begin. Okay. Bring your mind, let's say 50% out of the practice. Try not to move too much, try not to do too much, but if you need to make a little bit of adjustment, just relax about halfway. Give yourself a chance to recuperate so you can put in more effort again. All right. We're going to do another session, 5 minutes on the breath. Once again, pretty simple instructions. You're going to count the breath from 1 to 7, 7 to 0. You can either visualize the numbers in your mind or simply say them in your mind, but say them with great force if you say them. Place the mind with very intense, very intense, powerful motivation onto the sensations of breathing without imagining anything, labeling anything, etc. Besides the numbers, the only thing you're doing with your mind is keeping it on those actual tactile sensations. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, begin. Okay. For the sake of time, we're going to skip over the body scanning today. We're just going to do a very, very, very brief body scan. And we're going to do a bit of practice on the auditory sense gate because we're making our way through the 5 sense gate practices. And I'd like to get a little bit of that practice in today. For those of you who haven't done the auditory sense gate practice, you're going to find it's fairly challenging, but how to say, amongst the external senses that you have, the auditory sense, I think personally, is the most like meditating on consciousness itself, because the auditory sense is it's so huge, you know, it stretches out for miles. The sphere of your hearing, you can hear things from miles and miles and miles away. So it's this huge formless sphere of awareness. And because it's like this, it's kind of similar to consciousness. So let's do a quick body scan, and then when the mind is just a bit more calm, a bit more tame, we'll do a bit of that practice, and I'll walk you through it. So bring your mind to the left foot and the left, everything from the left ankle to the left knee, everything from the left knee to the left hip, and the right foot, everything from the right ankle to the right knee, and the right knee to the right hip, the front and back of your pelvis, the anus, sexual organ, and perineum, the waist belt, which is the entire lower abdomen and the lower back, that whole area stretching around the torso. The diaphragm belt, which is between your solar plexus and just above your belly button. Once again, that sort of like making a ring around the body, front and back. Now the chest belt, so the front of the chest and the back of the chest, but if you can, try not to include your shoulder blades. Those are part of your shoulders. So you'll be aware of what's underneath your shoulder blades if you can. If not, don't worry about it. Now your left shoulder. Everything from the left shoulder to the left elbow. Left elbow to the left wrist. And the left hand. Now the right shoulder. Everything from the right shoulder to the right elbow. Right elbow to the right wrist. and the right hand. Become aware of the lower third of the neck, the middle third of the neck, the upper third of the neck, and then bring the mind into the joint between the neck and the skull. Just make yourself aware of the jaw and the entire skull. So the top of the scalp, sides of the scalp, all the sensory organs, just the tactile sensations you can feel on the whole skull. Now bring your attention to your ears. And don't turn your attention to hearing yet, but be aware of the tactile sensations of your ear. Okay, now from here, start to transition to hearing. So take your awareness out of the tactile sensations and move it to the sphere of hearing. I'm going to give you a little bit of instruction to help prepare you for this because it's a little bit strange if you've never done it before. So, in the same way that when your eyes are closed, you're aware that it's dark, and you're using your visual consciousness to become aware that there's no light, there's no image coming in. Yes? It's possible to be fully aware of the entire sphere of not seeing anything through the visual consciousness. So, in other words, you can bring your full awareness to the fact that you're not seeing anything through the eyes, right? Likewise, most of your auditory sphere is not going to have any content in it. Nonetheless, a bit like having your eyes closed and still seeing darkness, the directions where you don't hear sound, that's a bit like seeing darkness, right? You can become aware that there's no sound in that direction. Nonetheless, think about a time where you thought you heard something outside your house late at night, and you turn your attention, your hearing, towards where you think the sound came from, but then you never hear anything again from that direction. You already have this experience where you know you can turn your attention in terms of hearing in a particular direction, even when there's no sound in that direction. You see what I mean? So we're going to learn to do this deliberately. We're going to learn how to control which direction our mind is pointing in the auditory field. So first, become aware of everything that is in front of you in terms of the auditory field. Point your attention forwards in terms of hearing. Let that go. Point your attention behind you in terms of hearing. Let that go. Turn your attention to the left in terms of hearing. Let that go. Turn your attention to the right in terms of hearing. Let that go. Turn your attention above you in terms of hearing. Let that go. Turn your attention below you in terms of hearing. Now we're going to combine directions, so let go of the downward direction. Try to become aware now of everything ahead, so everything in front and everything behind, as if you were facing off against a person who was in front of you and behind you, and you were trying to be aware of both of them at the same time. Let that go. Same thing, everything to the left and to the right. Let that go. Everything above and below. Let that go. Now we're going to combine all 6 directions. If that's too demanding, if that's too difficult, then just do 4. All right? Do front, back, left, right, and don't do the up, down. Just get 4 of them working. If that's too hard, then just do 2 of them. Okay? So begin with front, back. Left, right. So add on the left and the right directions. And then add on the upward and the downward. As best you can, hold all 6 directions open, or all 4, or all 2. Refresh the directions. So keep all of them open that you have open already, but just refresh each one. Front, back, left, right, up, down. hold all 2 or 4 or 6, whichever you're able to do. For those of you holding 2 or 4, just stay with that. For those of you holding 6, now just gently relax your mind, not quickly, but slowly, slowly, slowly relax the mind and just let your hearing exist. Hearing gives rise to sound, and it is aware of or knows sound, so you don't have to do anything at all. And simply let that consciousness, let the hearing consciousness be like a mirror that is fully open and ready to receive whatever sound might happen to occur in any direction without pointing itself in any one direction or being drawn in by a sound that happens to occur in one particular direction. So keep it fully open, even if you hear a sound, to continue hearing sounds in all directions. Begin. Once again, refresh the directions just to make sure that they're all staying open, and then let them go once again and rest in open awareness. So front, back, left, right, up, down. Keep them all open, and then release the directions and simply abide with fully open auditory awareness. Okay, now from here, just draw your awareness inward now, and rather than focusing on the body, and rather than focusing on sound, turn your awareness to mental content. So each of your sensory powers, each of your sensory organs detects unique objects, Buddhist psychology says. So this is pretty common sense. Your eyes don't hear anything, your ears don't see anything, right? Each of your senses detects something unique. Likewise, your consciousness, your mental sense power, your mental sense organ has unique objects. This includes things like thoughts. It includes things like visualized images. It includes things like memories. It includes things like motivations and intentions. So your mind has a whole bunch of unique objects that your other five senses don't detect at all. So take your awareness now, and just like we did with hearing, just try to keep the mind, the central mind, in a state where it's not focused at all on the five external senses and is simply remaining open and receptive and ready for whatever possible mental content might appear in front of it. And it's very important that you don't let your mind run away from you. In other words, don't let your mind chase things that are occurring in the external five senses, because those aren't mental objects. The only mental objects are types of objects that actually occur in your mental consciousness, okay? So focus solely and exclusively on mental content without adding to it, without taking away from it. Just like you did with hearing, make your mind, your central mind, like a mirror, decisionless, choiceless, intentionless, motivationless, simply abiding, ready for whatever mental content occurs. And if no mental content occurs, it's a bit like listening out, trying to hear in a situation where there's nothing to be heard, right? You can still just rest there waiting to see if some sound occurs, yes? In the same way, if you notice that there's no mental content for a period of time, don't try to make something appear. Simply abide in that ready, waiting, open, available condition where you're not making a decision or a choice to do anything in particular. In brief, just sit with the mind. Begin. Okay. coming out of this condition, return briefly to the sense consciousnesses that you already opened. So just open auditory, open tactile as best you can, and just sort of gently transition out of the mental consciousness and transition into your sensory consciousness as being non-reactive as best you can, you know? If you need to move around because the body's getting sore, just move slowly at this point. Don't move quickly yet. Okay, and as you relax a little more, you'll probably notice that the mind will sort of resume its normal connections and things will start to seem a little bit more normal. And as that happens, you can transition out. But it's good to sort of take your time coming out. Okay, questions? DJ was dutifully ensuring that other people find the stream by putting comments in the chat the whole time. Oh, sorry, my video got a little wonky there. Let me just fix that for you. Let's pump up the gamma a bit so that I don't look like I'm on the dark side of the moon. Hello. Okay. Lovely. No questions? Everyone's enlightened? Everyone knows everything already? Oh, okay. So this particular practice is called Mahamudra. It comes from the Indian Mahasiddha tradition that later found its way into Tibet, thankfully, because if it hadn't made its way into Tibet, it would have been lost because Indian Buddhism went out of existence. And it was preserved and commented upon by the great Tibetan masters and saints and scholars. And then my teacher taught it to me. So in the root text for the, in the early commentary for this text, the root text is called the Ganges Mahamudra by Tilopa. The first Panchen Lama of Tibet, who's a great scholar and a great yogi, he wrote a commentary on this. And in that commentary, he says something that's unique about this practice is that it's suitable for both beginners, like total beginners, and advanced practitioners. So this is one of those techniques that you can have and use all the way through the process. This technique is suitable for everyone. And I tend to agree. It gives you a huge amount of insight into who you are and what you are as a being, because you're contacting the elements that actually make you up. And therefore, when it comes time to do inquiry into selflessness and other more advanced topics, the evidence you can use to establish the selflessness of your being is your direct experience of the components that make up your being. So this is incredibly skillful, very, very skillful technique. I also like this technique to expand a bit on your question. I like this technique a lot because you can bring it into your real life. So if you get good at opening your sensory types of awareness, you have 5 external ones, right? If you get good at opening all 5, you can take any one of those 5 or all 5 of them together into your normal life. So when you need a mind that won't react to what's occurring, whether it's positive or negative, and sometimes you do need to be non-reactive to positive things also, you can generate the state of mind that you need so that you can make a free decision instead of following whatever impulse happened to come into your mind. So instead of chasing your impulse to cheat on your romantic partner, say, because a really handsome man or a really beautiful woman or whatever the case may be has started hitting on you somewhere, instead of chasing this seemingly very exciting experience, you open the sensory gates. You're aware that something pleasant is appearing. You're aware that this is an enjoyable experience, but you stop the impulse to chase what's appearing. And therefore, you don't cheat on your wife or husband or girlfriend or boyfriend. And therefore, your life is less chaotic. And therefore, instead of accumulating negative karma, you progress further down the path, both in terms of karmic theory and in terms of just practical kind of, practical training considerations. So whether it's positive or negative, whatever's appearing can become practice. This is why this technique is so incredible. You can take everything and turn it into practice using this technique. Pointing out the Dharmakaya. I think I have a copy of that, actually. It's on my shelf, I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly certain. As a matter of fact, I think I bought that book, and then my dog ate half of it, and then I had to buy another copy, which was really sad. If I'm thinking of the same book. Okay, my friends. Well, if there are no meditation questions, I'm going to hop off this stream. And right after I get off this stream, I'm going to do another open Q&A to announce. If you didn't notice, we're monetized. You can now become members at the various levels of enlightened experience. So you can become a stream enterer today, or an arahant, or even a bodhisattva, or a samyak-sam fully realized Buddha right now by clicking the link related to becoming a member of the channel. It's that easy. In any case, for those of you who have been looking for an easy way to support the ongoing work, because as I said, I don't charge for anything. If you'd like to help keep these teachings free for everyone so that we can all benefit, including myself, becoming a member is a great way to do that. And also, we have super chats now, so that's going to be tons of fun when we do the open Q&As. It's going to be chaos. We also have stickers, which seem like a really fun idea, that you can put super crazy things in the chat. And then also, just to get a little more merit, as I said, I made custom emojis that are, they only let me do 4, but eventually I'll have all 5. So I have 4 of the 5 Buddha families. I have a little head for each one. And so just by seeing, it says in one sutra, you accumulate huge amounts of merit just by seeing the Buddha. So you can put the Buddha into the chat just for a little merit for everyone. Okay, very good, very good. I will see you all in the next stream, which will be happening shortly after a brief interlude. Okay, thank you for being here. As I like to say, hope to see you again soon. Cheers.